and I don't know how to do it, sorry, I Google. No, in fact, I say, let's look for the Indian guy. The Indians, they answer the questions better than us. So we look for the Indian guy, and the Indian guy does a very good job. So you can see, I'm going all the way because the world has opened up. Then have multiple income streams. So consider adding income streams to yourself. And those income streams is, you're a teacher, can you do something else on the side? That online teaching, maybe you're employed in an office, can you do a consultancy and just train outside your 8 to 5 job without compromising on your core job? Maybe you're even a good artist even as you're a teacher. Do art, continue with that art. It will also bring in some income. So look at your abilities and use them. Use your talents. I love the story of the talents in the Bible because I think that one guy, his talents were really good. He was good at multiplying his wealth. You may argue he was given more, but the truth is, he did an amazing job. We must do an amazing job with the talents we are given. The next one, got 20 minutes, expenses. Hapa ndio tutakangi, tunafanyanga, we don't even like putting any documentation of expenses. Tunajuanga tu rent. But expenses, you've got to track them. And I start with the first thing, live well under your means. I know we are always told, live under your means. Please live well, because your health also is very important. Live well under your means. Make sure that you are living comfortably, not in poverty, so that maybe even children are getting a balanced diet because you're trying to tell them, we are trying to live under our means. So they will not take a balanced diet. You need to take care of that because it will show up in another way when you really, really squeeze too much. And we know those who are miser. So don't be a miser, but at the same time, we are saying don't be so frugal with your expenses that you are blowing every expense that you have. So good habits of managing expenses. One, it's your budget. And we are going to dwell more on that. Budget, budget, and budget, and budget. Then DIY, what is that? Yes, sasa. Naona my youngsters hapo ndio wako. My parents hapo ndio wako kini nini tu kuambiwa na Cambridge. DIY, do it yourself. If there's anything you can do for yourself, do it yourself. That way you're saving. You know that kitchen garden? You'll do your herbs, and therefore you don't have to buy the herbs. That fixing, if you can just do the little fixing, do it yourself. So DIY, the things that you can do by yourself, do them and do them well, and that way you can shun those expenses that come with every time calling somebody to come and do it for yourself. We go on to the third, savings. This is nice. Hapa ndio sasa mambo iko. And we'll dwell more on it, how we'll do our savings and investments. Pay yourself first. Fine, your employer pays you. He first of all pays KRA before even he pays you, because KRA has to be paid. So pay yourself first. When you receive that income, please don't say, I'll first of all budget rent, nini. First of all, the first line item should be savings. Not, you don't save after expenses. You save before expenses. If you get that discipline, you'll never miss money to save. But if you say you will save what remains, hakuna kitu itabaki. Guaranteed. It won't baki because they are competing needs. So you save first before you expense. So how do you do that? Identify how you separate yourself with your money. Here it's a relationship between you and your money. That relationship has to be, ikifika, let me send my 5%, just like the way we do tithe. Take your savings directly to where it needs to be. Not in the same bank account where you are removing money for rent and all that. It must be separated with you. This is a hard one. It's what many people struggle with because they'll say, I have so many expenses, therefore I cannot save, or I'm earning so little, therefore I cannot save. And I tell them, imagine that is such a lie from the enemy. You can save even when you're not earning a lot, because you can deny yourself something. even if it's 100 bob. I've got Mama Mbogas, and I'll tell you the story of I See a Lion. Mama Mbogas were saving 20 bob, even 3 times a day through the digital platforms, because now we have digital platforms where you can be able to invest and save. So they actually work so hard. Like I have one woman whom I know every day I see her transactions. If she doesn't save 100 bob, she'll save 80, even 85. Sometimes I'm like, oh my God, today must have been a hard day for this lady. She did 50 bob. But she's consistent. So consistent. And when I count that every day she's doing 100 bob, in a month, what has she saved? 3,000 shillings. Now, that's smart. If I had gone to her and said, "But 3,000 to save," she'd tell me I don't have. And for sure she doesn't have, right? But 100 she has. It's all about the discipline. So that discipline has to be there. So if you don't have the bulk amount, you're not employed to get a bulk amount, be sure to separate yourself with your money and save whatever it is you have. Consistency is everything. And you will not feel like you don't have that money. You'll just find that you're able to save at the end of the year. That woman of 100 bob per day has how much in the savings in her investment wallet? 36K. Just like that. 36,000. She'll not go to a circle. She won't. Meanwhile, the rest of us, Christmas will come, we ate everything, and we'll pile alone because the children are saying, "Tunataka kuona shosho," and you feel like you need to treat them because everyone is just talking how they're eating nyama choma and everything, and the mood is all for spending, and now you start spending even what you don't have. So, discipline of saving. Save and pay yourself first. Set your savings goal. It's one thing to start saving. It's another to know, I'm saving towards X. When you have X, you'll work towards it either by running or crawling or what, you will do it. Isn't it? Have a goal. If you're saving towards, let's give an example. What example can we give? Saving towards what? Let's give one. What can you think about? Maybe buying a home. Okay? So you know, okay, I want to buy an apartment. Maybe this apartment will be 4 million. I'll be asked by the bank a deposit of 10%, which is 400K. You can tell yourself, I'm starting to save now. And you save towards that 400K with an intention to buy that home. Okay. That way, you will not touch that money. Anytime that something comes and somebody calls maybe from the village, "Oh, we have a need, aki tuko tumekazwa," and you know how they call, eh? If the money is on your M-Pesa, unajipatanga tu aki wacha tu nimtumie, hata Mungu anaona. It's like they're saying my M-Pesa has money. And you know, you send. If you don't have it and you don't send, imagine they still survive. Have you ever realized that? Hata usipotuma, ata survive tu. Huyo mtu anakulilia. It's for sympathy sometimes, and we end up falling for it because we have idle money lying just there, and sometimes they just need advice. Maybe you can do without this one thing. Just consider, I don't have, you can do without it. And they will find a way of living around without it. And I'm not saying we ignore the needs of those around us, because even God requires that we be kind to those without, but honestly, we can limit our generosity because there are many competing needs. Do it wisely. But when you have loose cash just around, that is how unajipata tu unapeana, because it's loose cash. You didn't plan for it. It's just there. So you've got to be deliberate and know, how much am I using as benevolent for people? Or every group you're added, you're going to chuck money. What's your limit? Once you put those limits, you will also live with it well, and you will not be feeling guilty. You will not have that guilt trip. So set your goals and follow your goals. The fourth one, which is our last, we have 10 minutes. I'm doing well? I just needed to hear that. Investments. So after you save, you know, saving is just putting money away from you. Like the way my grandmother used to have a hole in her kitchen where she would hide the money. And when she realized we have known where the hole is, she changed the hole. Because I used to wonder, what is this? She goes, every time she's sending you somewhere, she's like, She goes and she thinks she comes out with money. We're like, this is a savings bank. Wisha. And she realized, wamejua. She changed. I think it went to her bedroom. And it's not savings. What she was doing is just saving, putting money aside. It has nothing to do with multiplying that wealth. It was just saying, staki ikue karibu na mimi, let it stay. It is my, in Kyuk we say it's my modhido. It's my, English has poteada, that one. So, set a percentage of income to always invest. And we recommend as money managers, 15 to 20% of your income. Try and save that. Or at least start doing something. It doesn't have to be 15 to 20. If already you're burdened in many ways, start wherever you are, but work towards that goal. So don't say, I can't afford 20, therefore I will not start. Start. Okay? But the desired ideal world, 15 to 20% of your savings. And don't consider things as only the money that you that maybe you put in an investment account. It could also include the money you're saving in a pension scheme. So if you're contributing 5% in a pension scheme, you're already doing well, but you're not yet at 20, isn't it? So push towards that. So those with a pension scheme, they already are saving, but forced by employers, many of them. And as I say, I tell people, akifunga macho, 200 bob. Ni mzuri, lakini, if you're going to really replace your income, you need to do a little more than that. Focus on the long-term results. Don't be short-sighted when doing investments. Many times we get really short-sighted, and we'll see about how do you determine what is long-term and what is very short-term. Diversify your investments. Remember our balance sheet when I told you don't just have plots. Have a plot, have some liquid cash, have some money market, have some shares. That is diversification. And it means that when you diversify, if something happens in one sector of your investments, you'll not be wiped out completely. Okay? You'll not be wiped out completely so that you are unable to do anything. So diversification is very important. It's a risk management tool. So save enough money to invest and remember to control risk. That's something that some people forget, controlling risk. Because you can say, I'm investing, but you're investing in crypto. It's not an investment. It is an investment, but with very high risk. Sindio? It's an investment, and you can be telling all of us, may invest in crypto. Then one day unaosheka kabisa. Unaanza kutu hate. It's because you didn't control risk. So anytime you're saving and investing, remember risk. Every investment comes loaded with risk. It doesn't matter what it is, even property, even plots. I can tell you, I have seen plots which have been in the market now for more than 4 years with no buyer. Imagine if that's all you have. Unatafuta, there is no buyer. Nobody is giving you an offer. Or you have a property that has no tenant. Wanakujanga wanaangalia, they say no. You see, even property has its own risk. So every asset, I know we are told land has no risk, it only goes up, it never goes down. I can tell you guys, it is not the truth. They do go down. Last year and this year, most of our investments in real estate, they are being priced downward. We are just revaluing downward. 10-15%. So if you had $1 billion, now you're at 900 million. Umeacha kukua billionaire, hapo ndio stress inaingia. Na ulikuwa ushaitwa billionaire. Then a manager comes and tells you, oh no, now your portfolio is valued at 900 million. Wewe mtu anasikia uchungu. Unaona? Why? Why is property going down? Because it's an asset and it gets valued. And there are competing needs for money. Just like shares. So property can be devalued by the fact that maybe there are no tenancies. You see, like now working from home, it came. Most of the office parks that we had, they no longer have tenants. So if I'm going to buy this, if somebody is going to buy that property, they don't have a guarantee that they'll get quality tenants. And what we have seen is most tenants are negotiating lower rents. So if you negotiate lower rent, it means the value of that property has gone down, isn't it? Then there's so much, even developed office parks. The choices are so many. Do I go to a new one, an old one? Go to Upper Hill, you can walk. Go even to houses. If you want to look for a house today, it's not the days of queuing. You just go to Kilimani. You will find houses that are empty, so many of them. So you negotiate your rent. You're like, I can see already you have vacancies, so many. So if that rent is coming down and that is the income by the investor, then they will not also pay a high price for it, isn't it? Yes. So properties are coming down because of many factors that are playing out. Then, of course, interest rates. For those of us who understand interest rates, if interest rates are going up, it means if I don't buy this property, I have an alternative place I can put this money and earn me a high return. Government is paying me 14, 15%. Why should I buy a property without a tenant? Then I struggle to manage the tenant who comes with doorknobs have broken, I don't know what. Siningenunua bond. So again, you negotiate based on that. So there are very many factors that are working against real estate. But today we are just talking about make sure you control risk. Invest, but control risk. And we are going to talk about that later on. That's the last. We are done. Thank you very much. Good. 6 minutes.
Can you give a better hand clap? Thank you very much, Elizabeth, for that first session. And we are really looking forward to the second session. And I can see she's very mindful of time. I told her because we need to go for a tea break and then quickly we come back for the next session. So the directions are very simple. We have a dining hall downstairs. Okay. So we have a dining hall downstairs and we will use this route so that we save on time. So just exit like this, go down the stairs, then after the stairs you turn to your right, you'll see the dining hall right next to the kitchen and we'll have our tea and come back. But we want to have a Q&A for that session because you will forget the questions, you will forget what she has said or the questions you want to ask about what she has said. So please, let's have the questions for that session, and Elizabeth can answer them because she's well within her time.
All right.
Questions? Questions? Yes, there's one at the back.
Thank you very much. Really a great session. A question on the last thing you talked about risks. You've said that real estate is you have to be quite analytical about it. So could you give us a bit of more details in terms of the options and the vis-a-vis this versus this, and what is the threshold, for example, within which maybe real estate becomes a bad investment decision? Thanks.
Okay, good question. Real estate, it's not a bad investment. That I must clear. Don't go home saying I said real estate is bad. It is good. It is just that you need to be careful how much is it of your portfolio. You get the point? How much is it of your portfolio? Is it 100% of all your investment is real estate? So that could actually ruin your strategy. So when we talk about real estate, we look at real estate from all angles. There's real estate which is undeveloped land, and we'll be looking at the different asset classes and the risks they come. There's undeveloped land, that I would say is the one with the highest risk. And it's the highest risk because it does not bring in any income. All you're waiting for is capital gains. Upate another person who is going to pay you a higher amount. And you know that is what Kenyans have been doing. Nanunua, nagoja kidogo, nauzia the next person. How long can you have those prices just going up? And that's why we are saying now you're getting people offering less. So undeveloped land is the most risky type of investment. And when it is the most risky, it also has the highest expected returns. If you hold it for a long time, it could pay off really, really big. But it means during this life of this holding undeveloped land, you're earning nothing. Remember that. Then one day you're paid a big bullet, 100 million. But you lived all through life with no income. So you gave up something, isn't it? The opportunity cost. So while it is good, you can't have it as your only way of investing. It's the highest risk. Then you've got in real estate also residential sector. You look at residential, you will classify residential as low income, middle income, high end. Now, low income, you can go to different levels even. Because there is low income for slums, there's only low income for affordable. And you know, affordable is not the same as a slum. I know guys who are in the slums who are landlords, and they rent such small houses at 5,000 or 3,000 shillings. There's no toilet, there's no lighting, there's no sanitation, nothing. That for me is not an investment. I think that is dehumanizing the other person. So I don't consider like, as Christians, we need to be doing that because it's so dehumanizing. It brings down the dignity of the person. So while those people could be telling you, but I rent my mabati structure at 3,000. You've not given them water, you've not given them sanitation, no hygiene, no security. That's not our God. That one for me, I'm not in. So you go to affordable. When you go to affordable housing, it's for your ordinary mwananchi. And those ones, the rents are also very affordable. They need to be affordable to the common mwananchi. So you find the returns are not really high. They are just okay. It is your treasury bill level. And then over time, maybe you might see some increase in valuation because of markets going up and adjusting. But it's not obvious. So the cost you bring the affordable housing at is very, very important to determine the return you get. Then you've got the middle income person. That's the person I think who pays the highest return in the property spectrum. They pay a high return because the houses are quality, they are in good locations, and mostly they are targeting people with high incomes, relatively high incomes, and so they get quite some good return, maybe even double digit, 10%, 11% per annum. I know it might not sound like crypto. You know, for us, it's very interesting how we look at returns. If your property is paying you 12% return, you really are doing well, 12, 13. Okay, so we consider that as very good. Besides, it's preserving value, and most likely you have rent escalations, which you can apply, and therefore you protect yourself from inflation. But right now, even escalations are not coming through. Most people are refusing to be escalated for rent. Then you have the high-end, ambassadorial homes. Huko ndio hakuna returns, that's prestige. It's your homes which are ambassadorial. You've done everything magnificent to make this home A. The rent could, in nominal terms, the rent sounds like it's big. You know, somebody is paying 400,000, but the cost of producing that home is so high that when you compute the return, which is your income divided by your cost of production, the returns are even below the treasury bill. But you're very happy to say, you know, I have a home, I rent a home in Runda. Najua hapo, sasa hapo, you may not see the returns, but you will enjoy the prestige. You are the landlord in Rundas and in Karens and all that, but the returns are nothing. So when you're an investor, returns are what drive us where we will invest, not just prestige. But sometimes when you've reached another level, utaendea hiyo prestige. Na ni sawa tu, hata hiyo inaumba, inakusaidia. Yeah. Tukifika hapo tunaenda hapo. We have to have those people because a society must have all cadre of people. Yeah. So not bad. Investments in property are not bad. Just know what is the mix, and then when you're starting, what are you going to start with? Most likely maybe an undeveloped plot, and most likely to be your home. You build there, so consider maybe if it is your home, that means you're going to stop paying rent. One of the liabilities will move out and you become a homeowner. things like that. So many considerations. Higher, I'm between you and T. You're good?
What's your opinion between rent versus mortgage?
Rent versus mortgage. All right. I know there are very many diverse opinions about renting and taking a mortgage. I say for a young person who is starting to work and you have the length of time to start a mortgage, I would say go for it. Because you'd still be paying rent and you'll now be living comfortable in your home. So mortgage works, but work towards reducing the span of life of that mortgage loan. Don't take a mortgage and stay with it for 30 years. As your income levels go up, try and reduce your mortgage balance, and that way the home becomes yours earlier. Because what happens is when you're young, most likely the bank can give you a mortgage of up to 30 years. That means your repayment is quite small, which means you can afford when you're young and you don't have large income. Then your income grows and you continue paying the small amount. And then your other expenses start coming and you start consuming and not paying off this mortgage. You complicate your life. Add your mortgage repayment so that the home becomes yours quicker than you had signed initially, because those provisions are there in the loan agreement. Yeah, so it's a good one. Rent, stay on the rent. If you haven't got to the mortgage level, please don't squeeze yourself to go to the mortgage level. Stay your lane, but consider how you can move towards owning a home. Yeah. Mm-hmm. She's decided to make the break longer.
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine.
Now, first I would want to commend you. Your credentials are very good. And
you.
Also the way you're taking us through the program. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Secondly, my question is, you can decide to do an investment when you're young, about either you continue paying rent,
Yes.
you buy a shamba and you develop it to rent it out to other people as you continue figuring out where you'd want to stay, or would you prefer you first build your own home and then you now think about other incomes later on?
Okay, building your own home. If you're going to build your new home where you will be commuting to your place of work, that's fine. But if you're going to build in the village, then you'll be going there like tourists twice a year. I'd say no. Why are you allocating money to a home you'll only live maybe 4 days in a year or 5 days because you've gone to shags? Then the whole village is like, nalijenga, hapo sawa. That is idle money. Don't do that. Don't do that. I know for some communities that it is cultural that you build because of other purposes. Try to be cost efficient with what you build then, because culture is part of us, so we can't eliminate ourselves from the cultural aspects of our lives. So if it is one of those things that the culture, maybe a man must build at home so that many other things can fall in place, I say yes, the village is okay, but be considerate of the income that you're going to commit to build that home. So when you buy the piece of land, consider whether that is actually a place where you would want to live even when you are retired, so that you make that investment with intentionality. Because it's one thing to buy the piece of land, then it is in one of the places where you would never want to live in. You've not done your homework, so the location is very important. So if it's a location that you're comfortable to build a home to live in, or even retire, or at least bring up your family in, go for it. Go for it, but make considerable, make that decision wisely. Like I know people who went all the way sides of Kitengela, very deep, and then you find there is no hospital, there are no schools, the facilities are not there. So it becomes really hard, and they have to now come back to Nairobi. They've abandoned their home. Even if they had invested a home, they are lacking now the amenities for their children. You see, you needed to have consider that, because you really need to know that there's security, there are amenities like hospitals, schools, and other amenities like transport, so that you don't also live poorly, even if you have built a very nice home. So many considerations. Yeah. And tukunywe chai? Yeah.
One more hand clap, please. Thank you very much, Elizabeth. Asante sana. So I think we can pray for tea and start leaving. Thank you, Lord, for the cup of tea that we are going to take. Lord, I pray that you bless it for our bodies. And as we return for the next session, be with us, Lord. In the name of Jesus Christ, we pray. Amen.
So that was a great start. And I know you want to hear Elizabeth continue, and she'll definitely continue. But you take a short commercial break and bring in one of us. She also puts her thoughts together for the next session. So our next speaker will be Brother Peterson Waweru. Up on Brother Waweru Peterson. Okay, so we have the next 40 minutes, 30 minutes, and 10 minutes Q&A. Thank you.
Okay. God bless you. Sijui tasema nini. Bwana abariki. Hii si shule, si kanisa sasa. So I'm very grateful. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm very grateful to kukua mbele yenu hapa. I am one of you. I'm one of the brothers, your brother, and I am not new to you. I can see so many people who we were with when we were young people, na naona wengi ambapo wanaweza witness whether what we are talking is the truth, and I'm very, very grateful. So I am not able to talk like that teacher, so mine is just practical. Tuongee Kikuyu, Kizungu, Kibaluya, whatever, so that we can be able to interact. But the main thing is to understand what we can do with what God has given us. Is it true? Yes. I will ask the pastor to read that scripture in Jeremiah chapter 29 and verses, I think it's verse 11. Oh, pastor has no Bible here. You can sit, Akonayo digital. I think it's Jeremiah chapter 29 verses 11. I know the thoughts. Yeah?
It's 29, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, pastor to read for us.
Jeremiah 29:11. For I know the thoughts that I think towards you, saith the Lord, thoughts of peace and not of evil, to give you an expected end.
Let us clap for that. You know, we now say, or we now believe, whatever we do or whatever we say, it has to be according to the word of God. Is that true? And that is where we get our inspiration, because we do not have any other power apart from that power of God. So now that scripture says, I know the thoughts I have for you. Good thoughts, not for evil, but for prosperity, for good ways, and that which will bring a good result to us. That is true. Mungu anajua mafikira zetu, anajua vile tulivyo. Hata tulipozaliwa tukiwa watoto wadogo, alitujua, alituumba na akatuweka vile tulivyo. And that is very important to understand that whatever you can do, it's only God who can guide you. The other people who think otherwise, but we as Christians, whether we succeed or we fail, whether we die or we live, we believe all will happen for the good of our lives and the good for whoever that is reading us. So, my name is Peterson Waweru, and I have my wife here who is Beatrice Wangui. Na nimekuwa mwana youth kwa miaka ambao tulipokuwa mbeleni. Tuliweza kuwa na shida mingi sana. Wale ambao walimaliza college from 2000 and 2002, 3, 4, 5, hiyo wakati hakukuwa na mambo mazuri. Nchi yetu ilikuwa mbaya, tunamaliza college, hakuna kazi, na tunaendelea na tunataka kuoana. Naye brother Mwendo hapa anatuambia hamtagoja kazi, he is my witness. Lazima muendelee na maisha. Na sasa sisi tukashindwa tutafanya nini tukiwa wana youth. Sister Jabi, simama. Ukiwa na Mbugushia, simama kidogo. This will be practical. Hapa hakuna maswali masharia, simama. Now your wife here. There is another friend here with your wife. My wife to stand. There is another somebody here with your wife. I was a chairman for all those people and others. Get seated. Then we have others like Kina Steve Kangiri, Simu Indi, Akina Benson Maina, many group, even Simama Vicky. We were, get seated. Tulikuwa na shida mingi sana. Tulimaliza college na tukukuwa na kazi. Is that true, brother? So we had a lot of problem. Brother Kamwati had a lot of problem to see how we can go about it. But by God's grace, somebody came along our way. We had some barriers that could prevent us not be able to understand these things properly. Brother Mwendwa, before then, God brought him on our way. He was a very, very, very good encourager to the youth. He took us along. Akatu encourage, akatuambia, brothers, don't fear. Do whatever you can. Na tukasaidiwa. Hao wote walikuwa hawajaoana. Tulikuwa tunaenda mikutano huko Kenyatta Moi, Nairobi University, tunatengeneza weekend challenges, and we were very, very active. And those people who persevered that time, one of them is a pastor here. The others are pastors today. Yes, others are deacon. Sindio? Let us clap for ourselves. So, hata kama tutafanya hivyo, lazima tukule, lazima maisha iendelee, kwa sababu si watoto wataanza kukuja. I married in 2004 April. And now mimi nilikuwa tutafanya vibarua hapa na pale. Wewe ulikuwa na kazi? Wewe ulikuwa umeajiriwa? Wewe alikuwa shule, si ndio? Sisi sote tulikuwa hivyo. Lakini hata wewe nakumbuka tukaendelea tu hivyo. Even your brother, your sister who nani? Sarah Kimwaki. Tulikuwa tunaenda hata brother Joroge ule wa Naivasha. But we got somebody holding our hand. Brother Mwendo, let us clap for Brother Mwendo. Because tulikuwa tunaogopa brother, tunaogopa kwenda kwa pastor. Saa ingine mtu akisikia unaitwa na pastor, unaogopa. Hata huwezi kwenda kushare. Pastor nitafanya nini? Maisha imekuwa gumu. Tunavumilia tu. Unaona sister, hata saa ingine hatuna viatu, tunaenda na viatu imekatika. Lakini Mungu alituangalia mbali. Akatupatia nguvu ya kushikana. Nguvu ya kushikana, nguvu ya kuombeana, nguvu ya kujali one to one another. And from now, that is when sasa mtu akioa bibi yake na ule anaenda huko na ule anaenda huko. Sasa mtaenda kujipanga. Kwani mtapangwa na nani? Si mtu anaenda kujipanga? Si ulienda kujipanga? Haya, lakini Mungu alikuwa karibu na sisi sana. Aliona nia yetu inaelekea wapi. Na lazima watoto ambao tunazaa watakula na watakunywa. So, me I knew Sister Alice because when she was youth alikuwa, si mlikuwa mnafanya naye huko sokoni? Yes, na alikuwa anafanya kazi ya kutengeneza hii suruali ya mkojo inaitwa baby Yuli pants, is it? Yes. Na walikuwa wanalipwa shilingi moja per piece. Okay? Hata yule ako na degree, wengine walienda kushona huko. Wale wako na madiploma walienda kushona huko. Huyu na wengine naona. So hatukuogopa. Tulishikana, mmoja wetu akitaka kuoa, tunaungana, tunasaidia huyo brother. Anaenda anapeleka ile kitu kidogo ako nayo. Na tunaanza maisha. Brother Masharia walioa nyuma yetu, walilearn from us. Tunaendelea hivyo. Tunaumizana, brother, what can you do? Tunaanza sako ka saving na hawa. Tulianza na shilingi 200. Simama je, brother. We are talking practical now. Sitaki mniangalie kama ni shule huyu. Tulianza na 200 shilling to save after 2 weeks, every Sunday. Tunaenda pale is it Magomano? KK. Tuna save na brother Kamau Andune. Tunaanza kusave. Shilingi 200, tukatoka hapo, shilingi 500, tukatoka hapo, tukaendelea. Mkiwa kanisani tu, tunaenda tukasave 1000. Siku moja tukagua na pesa mingi, tukaenda kuona brother Kamwati. Hatukuwa tunaweka pesa banki. Sasa si ni Kamau aweke hiyo pesa aende aka. We were doing practical things. And my brothers, let me tell you, the power of joining together and holding hands, it can do marvelous. It doesn't matter whether you are employed or not. What your 200 shilling, your 300 shilling can do thing, and you combine and pick something and just go. Tukaanza tukanunua ploti ya kwanza. Huko Githurai 450 500. Tukasema brother, wacha tuweke hapo. Tukaenda ya pili tukanunua. Tukagojea sijui miaka ngapi. Moja ikapika 3 million. Ingine 3, tukagawana hiyo pesa, mtu akaenda na 200,000, mwingine tukaendelea tu hivyo. Mimi nikaona maisha inaenda gumu. Huyu alikuwa anajua kushona, ndio nilikuwa nimesema mbeleni. Na kwa sababu sasa maisha imekuwa gumu, tutafanya nini? Tunaenda kwa kanisa kuongea na washida. Tukae kwa kanisa, at least tusaidie library, tuone kitu ya kuendelea kwa maisha. And brother Kamwati has been very good. Alituambia nyinyi kujeni. Vitabu zikikuja mnapanga. Kama kuna kitu nataka kufanyika, mnafanya. So we started doing that. Ule mtu hana, kama tuna fare, tunapatia mwingine. So she knew how to make those pants. Na mimi nikaangalia sasa maisha hii imekuwa ngumu. Sasa nitafanya nini? Na tumeona. Nikaangalia the opportunity, the potentials we have. Alikuwa ameandikwa na watu wengine, sasa nikamwambia toka huko, enda ushonee hapa kwa nyumba, na hiyo mashini moja alikuwa nayo kabla hajaoleka. Alihama nayo kale kadogo ka 3000. Akaanza kushona. Anaambiwa shona, peleka. Na mimi nikiwa kwa washida saa nyingine naambia, si ukuja unisaidie tupeleke huko kama kuji hizi nguo ameshona. Akaongeza mwingine. Tukaanza kupeleka hii suruali ya makojo, tukapeleka, tukauza Isili wapi, tukaitishwa hata kwenda Kongo. Tukaajiri watu wangapi? Wewe ulikuwa unashonea kweli? Jambi ulikuwa unashona? Yes. Suruali ya mkojo ikaenda Nairobi, tunashona zinajaa huko kwa Kamukunji. Hatukukuwa na pesa. What we did, wakati walikuwa wanashona kwa hiyo mama, walikuwa wanajuana na Muhindi mwenye alikuwa ana supply hizo vitu. You know what we did? Tulimwambia tuko na order brother. And Indians sometimes are very good. We only had 5,000. Ile ambayo mimi nimesave, amerogota. Tunaenda kumwambia hii shika 5,000. Tumepatiwa order ya 200 pieces. Akatupatia material, she knew how to cut them na kushona. Akaita mtu mwingine akaanza kushona. Na mimi nilikuwa na tupesa, nilikuwa na ile Karimo. Unajua Karimo? Home bank. You know Washira is funny. Mimi know Washira wa Kamau. Tulikuwa tunalipwa na ile macoins Anaweza funga 1,000 ya 10 bob. Afunge tu. Sasa akienda kukupatia ile kitu ya baada, hao unachukua hizo. Sasa mama Angeshia ananiuliza, sasa hii tutaweka wapi? Naenda na mwaga kwa ile home banking. After some time, wakati niliona hii kazi inaendelea, nikaenda nikafuja hiyo Karimu. Na nikipata kangiri mahali naweka. Nikipata kitu naweka. Nilitoa 8,000. Tukanunua mashini nyingine. Sasa kazi ikashika. Hata sometimes Washiro namwambia mimi sikuji leo. Wacha niende. Tukauza hizo vitu brother. Tukauza. Hata Mungu hata leo saa nyingine tukipita mahali siku hizi ushonagi ile suruali ya mkojo. Let us clap for her. So we identified, tuliangalia ni nini tuko nayo hapa ambayo inaweza kusaidia, kwa sababu hatuna pesa na hatuna mtu ambaye tunaweza lilia. Nini tunaweza fanya? Tukaulizana na huyu, wewe shona hizi na mimi nianze tukaendelea. Tukiwa tu kanisani, wewe brother wakafugi unajua. Haya. So tukaendelea hivyo brother. Until now. Hii inaitwa diapers, ndio hizo sasa zimekuja. Sasa tunafanyika nini? Out of business, kwa sababu sasa watu hawafai hizo. Sasa wananunua nini? Diapers za watoto. We are rendered out of business. What do you do? Wageshi nao anaenda tu na miguu ni mkubwa. Sasa tumekosa kazi. Haya, Mungu ni mwema. Tulikuwa tumesave some money. Tukaingia kwa kazi nyingine ya kushona hii. Watoto tu, unaona hiyo sweta inavaliwa na huyo mtoto. Pass up. Kama shini moja kalikuwa kanauzwa 40,000. Uncle and a relative to my wife here ndio alikuwa nauza. Tukamwambia sasa wacha tukupatie hii pesa 20,000 utupatie kamoja. Na akatupatia. Akatupatia hata sio moja, nitawapatia 2. Huu ni mtoto wangu. Tukapewa mashini ngapi? 2. Wacha tuanze kushona hiyo sweta. Sasa ni pass up. Duration of hiyo miaka tu. Tunaelewana? Tulikuwa na pesa. Tulikuwa na nini na ujuzi, si ndio? Si watu wale wako na hizo vitu. Tunaenda wako wanauzia hapa na sisi tunashonea hapa. Lete beru 3, tunashonea hapa. Tukiuza tutakupatia. Kwa hivyo tulikuwa na nini? Na confidence on what we are doing. Capital did not hinder us to continue. Do you know what you are doing? Yes. Do you have the market? Yes. Tunashona, tunaweka hapa. Sasa unajua sasa hakuna shop, unakomboleshwa kameza tu hapo sokoni. Wacha vitu zianze kushonwa. God gives us grace. Tuliambiwa the thoughts I have for you, they are for prosperity. God knows you. Imagine huyu akisimama hapo anaambiwa nishonee sweta 200, nishonee sweta 100 na nisubashini ngapi? 2. Sasa tunaanza kutafuta watu wale wa kuangusha. Tunasema wa kuangusha unapatia uzi, unaangusha unamlipa. Tukashona. Sasa unajua vile tulifanya fani. Ilikuwa nimenunua deka. Sasa tukaanza sasa Wangeshi si analala chini. Hiyo deka sasa tukaanza kuweka hizo nguo hapo juu. Tunapanga hapo juu kwa sababu zimeshonwa na customer hajakuji. Hatuna pesa ya kuchukua duka. We don't have some money to rent for the shop. So we need to work with whatever available for us. Whether tutakuwa hatuna nini, tutaenda kuomba nini, tukapik. Why don't you class for No capital to buy for those threads you want. We are asking for the neighbors who have. We make with them. Is there any hindrance? What do we need to have? Work hard. Sasa ni kufanya kazi. Tunafanya kazi usiku na mchana. Paka tukafikia wakati sasa hizo sweater lazima sikue joint. I had to bring those 2 machine. Wewe msichana kaa hapa kwangu kwa nyumba. Ukishikanisha, mama Angeshia ameenda, ukishikanisha unarusha hapa juu ya kitanda. Na mimi niko kanisani. That is God's grace. That is God's grace. Tukaendelea hivyo. Nataka kuonyesha kwamba hii uoga tuko nayo ya kusema ati lazima brother tukae chini. Ati mimi sina pesa, sitafanya nini, kazi hakuna. Hiyo sio solution. What do you know? Nini uko nayo hapa wewe mwenyewe? Hebu fanya hivi, kila mtu afanye hivi. Na ufanye hivi. Nini kitu gani kingine unataka? Uko na mikono ndio hii. Kichwa yako ni mzuri. Kuna mtu ameweka bill sauzi kama zile, huwezi kwenda kuongea na yeye akupatie ushone alafu mulipe baadaye. Kwa hivyo hatukukuwa na there is no solution, there is no reason why a believer or a brother or sister atakaa tu aseme nitakosa kitu ya kukula. Tukatoka kwa hizo sasa. Zilikuwa zinaitwa single ama double. Nani alikuja juzi kununua hiyo sweta kwa shop? Sister Maina. Stand up. Kwani nafikiria naongea kitu ambao sio iko. Huyu alikuja juzi, sasa tumetoka kwa hiyo single, alikuwa anauliza hiyo sweta. Si ulikuwa unauliza hiyo sweta? Kwa sababu alijua tulikuwa nazo. Lakini sasa ukakuja zingine hizi zinaitwa knitwear. Uzi inatoka Roiro na wherever. Tukaona sasa market naenda ikibadilika brother. Ikafika wakati sasa pesa inakosa. Unajua sasa hii kuna economic hard times now. Mtoto ameanza kuitisha, sasa hakuna pesa inaisha. Watu wengine wanachukua vitu, hawataki kulipa in time. Na huja sasa economy inaenda kuenda chini, ukaanza kurudi chini. Mimi niko kanisani. Na brother Mwaura, hata hawa deacon wanajuanga. There's a brother called Brother Kiboi, he works in UKCC. Tunaongea tu na brother Wakafugi na brother tafutieni kazi, hata pastor anatafutia watu kazi. Siku moja nikasikia kwa nyumba tu, brother Waweru, habari yako? Unatakikana uende Dadora factory tomorrow fasting in the morning. Uende uone mtu anaitwa Jenga, New KCC factory. Nikaenda, nimefanya mechanical production. Niko na kosi hata kama ilikuwa mfuko, lakini najua kazi. Huyu naye akaniambia sasa hii kazi tutachukua, hebu tutafute mtu tuache pale kwa ile kameza kwa sababu kazi imeenda chini. Nitatafuta kazi. Wakaitoa contract na huko industrial area. The same job, kushona t-shirt na nini. Akaenda na mimi kaenda. Hatukuacha. Ile mshahara ya kashu, unajua serikali kukuandika permanent itakuchukua muda. Pesa ni kidogo. Tunaleta huyu analeta, tunaendelea kununua uzi, tunaangushiwa, sweta tunaweka juu ya meza, juu ya deka. Tunaandika mtu, my sister. Napigiwa kazi, kuna mtu anataka alete uzi. Sasa hata nilishajua mahali uzi inatoka Roiro. Sasa nikupiga simu kuchukua, natuma ndugu yangu enda ulete biru 3. Mambo ikaanza ikafunguka. Siku moja huyu contract kaisha. Lakini ujuzi bado wako nayo. Kulikuwa mtu ambaye alikuwa anafanya kazi na yeye huko, ambaye akona sasa inaitwa hard flat machine, ile ya kushona hii sweta ya hii uniform, school uniform. Akamwambia, "We Alice, simuangalie tu hizi vitu, si nitafutie mtu wa kununua." Na mimi nayo nilikuwa nimeingia tayari kitambo, nilikuwa nafanya Unilever tulikuwa contract huko, tukafanya lakini nikaingia kasako ile ya huko Unilever, Maisha Bora Sako. Na tukaform group tukiwa na kina Benson Maina, Margaret wa Maina, Sister Moita na nini, ya kwamba tunaweza mtu achukue loan tusainiane one another. Tulikuwa group of five people. Sasa nikaona sasa hiyo inaitishwa 70,000. Do I have that money? No. Nikakimbia kwa kina Benson na kaform. Nilikuwa nimesave 80,000. Benson Maina, you know him? Margaret wa Maina, Sister Mwangi unisaidia. Sister Moite alisaidia, nikachukua pesa nikapatia huyu, akaenda akaleta hiyo mashine. Tukaanza kushona polepole. Sasa hizi zingine polepole. Sasa tukatafuta mtu pale Jericho. Tukaweka mtu hapo. Mimi niko kazi, huyu akoka. Faida ametoka kazi. Lakini sasa amerudi pale sokoni. Mtu anashona Jericho akilete kwa nyumba. Nashona Jericho akilete kwa nyumba. Na mimi bado naendelea KCC 24 hours. Nikiwa casual, pesa yangu ina save napeleka kwa sako. Kwa sababu sasa ukiwa casual unafanya masaa mingi overtime, unalipwa a lot of money. Sasa una save. Unapeleka ingine kwa sababu tulikuwa tunakaa kwa single room. I remember that financial advisor alituambia, know how to spend your money. When you get your income, where do you take your money? Yes, you spend within your means. Brother. Sasa mimi kama hiyo pesa nikichukua niende nichukue 3 bedroom or 2 bedroom, nitaweza kujimudu maisha? Hapana. We had to stay there. Tunakaa hapo kwa hiyo curtain na mtu tunamwasha hapo anashikanisha tunaenda. Msichana mwingine wakando na anashona na tunamwachia hiyo nyumba. Tunaendelea hivyo. Many people they assume I was staying in Bahati. Is that true, Mugushia? You know the same house? You are visiting one another? Masharia, you know that house? Good. We continued because we had decided with my wife. I had to support her. She had to support me. We have the same like mind. We have to grow. This is a child who is growing. Nobody, ati hii ni kazi yangu, hii ni kazi ya huyu. Pesa umepata ngapi? Tunaekelea hapa. Huyu anatoka, anaanza kutafuta market na anapata. So long as you have kitu ya kudisplay, customer hataki kujua umeweka workshop wapi ama umeweka store wapi. Unamwambia hii nitakudeliver. Alafu unaenda kushonea. Tukaendelea hivyo. Watu wakaanza kuleta hizi machine. They are just your friends. Unaenda unamwambia nikopeshe moja. Tunashona. Until now tukaenda tukapata 15 hard flats. Let us clap for ourselves. 15 all of them. Tunalipa hii, tunaitisha hii, tunalipa. Tunauza, tunalipa. Now we have how many people? From 2 to 18. Sasa wote sasa nikatafuta sasa niko na nyumba nafasi ya kwenda kutafuta nyumba kubwa. Si kazi ni kubwa. Kachukua hiyo ya Kanju. Kajenga hapo nje hata kama tunapigiwa mabati. Hiyo ndio workshop. 15 hard flats. 15 what? Moja inatoka 70,000. Right now one piece inatoka 120,000. Tumeendelea na hii kazi. Mungu ametuonekania. Order imekuja, tumeuza. Sasa brother Mwendo, Pastor Mwendo, hatuna shop. Kwani mmesahau hatuna shop? Siku moja huyu akaitiwa shop. Akaitiwa shop hapo kwa soko. Sasa tukaenda. Hizo vitu yote tulitoa. Tuliweka kwa gari, watu wakasema, huyu ni mama Wangeshi alikuwa pale. Kwani hizi vitu wamenunua wapi? Wametoa kwa Muhindi. Hawakujua vitu tulikuwa tunaficha hata chini ya kitanda. Hiyo plot ilikuwa ya brother anaitwa brother Julius. Duka ika? Si unaijua Julius Jeremiah? Yes. I was your best man, you know what I'm talking about. Practical what? Let us not forget about we are talking practical things. Ni kufanya. Na hapa ni kujitolea. Ni ukae vibaya, ujisqueeze, maisha iendelee, ugojee kesho Mungu atafanya nini? Si akina Wakafugi walikuwa example. Si tulikuwa wanatu encourage wakati tunaenda kupikia harusi. Wacha tupigie huyu mzee makofi. Hajawahi kutuacha hata siku moja. You are my witness. These are deacons that have kept advising us and encouraging us until up to now. Wanatuona tukiingia mtu akiendesha. Sisi hatukujua mambo ya gari. Wewe ulikuwa umeota. Lakini huyu alikuwa anasomea degree mambo ya architecture. Kumbe alikuwa na hope, lakini hata yeye hakuwa anaota mambo ya gari. Let us talk the truth. Si ndio? We are talking about facts. Yes? Tukapeleka kwa hiyo duka, watu wakasema tumenunua kwa Muhindi, lakini vitu hata hatukukua, tunakomba, tunarudisha, tunakopa, tunarudisha mpaka ikajaa. Na tukaendelea kwa hiyo biashara. Unajua ukishukua hao lazima ununue sasa mashini zingine za kushikanisha. Kazi inaendelea ikikua. Hata hatujui. Mimi hata sikujua kama inakuwa. Mimi nasikia huyu anataka 300 pieces, hata hakuna. Uzi iko wapi? Tunakimbia, tunaitisha kwa mtu, tunashona. Pesa unalipwa. Mwingine anakuambia leta deposit. Anakuashia 50,000. Ile mashini huko umelipa, unakimbisha, unalipa huko. 1 plus. Business is practical. It is 1 plus 1. Kama business ni 1 minus ni 2 minus 1, hiyo hakuna kitu unafanya. Ni kweli mwalimu? 1 plus 1. Usiangalie ni nini wewe unafanya, lakini ikuwe 1 plus 1. Kesho itakuwa 2 plus 1. Kesho after 1 week itakuwa 5 plus 5. Itakuwa mingi na itaongezeka. So long as you know income ile napata, mimi napeleka wapi? Siendi kwa pombe, siendi kupeleka kwa ati ndio nionekane na watu wengine ati niko na nyumba kubwa, hata ingine situmii. Until tulitoka hapo, hiyo si gorum. Wakati hata tuko na 17 machines. Currently, we are unable. Let us agree that, unajua tulikuwa tunafikiria kazi ya mikono, mtu akiwa ati mtu wa kushona, mnafikiria ati mtu hana kazi ya kushona. Unafanya tailoring, unafanya dressmaking. Na huyo mtu hii suti unavaa anakulipisha pesa ngapi? Currently nao watu wanaenda university wanasomea design for suits. Kwa sababu hakuna hii kazi ya white collar. Na ukiandikwa kama mahali tunaandikwa huko, ukiwa technician, hata hiyo mshahara haiwezi kukutosha. Is that true? You have been in a director or something. You know how people are being paid. Na hata hii pesa vile tunasikia. Challenges, hii serikali inataka kuchukua pesa yote. Hata ukitaka kuandika kuanza biashara, ndio hao kanjo ndio hiyo inasimama hapo. Leta license ya hii duka. Leta fire license. Leta sijui nini. Unaona sasa hata ile kitu unapatikana nayo ni kidogo sana. Lakini kumbe tulifumilia. Na tumefumilia. Until now. Sasa challenges zikakuja sasa. When you want to work, kumbe enemy is within you. Let's do like this. Enemy is within you. Can be your wife. In terms of your prosperity, and can be your mother, can be yourself, because you are being lazy. Kama wewe muenda kushona hiyo sweta na muenda ublipwe hiyo Jeremia, unachukua hiyo 20,000 badala ya kuambia sister hiyo 20,000 tumeuza, wewe unaenda kupeleka shughuli nyingine, hiyo mtaendelea. Wewe uchukue vitu za watu na ukatae kuwalipa, si utakufa? Si utapigwa risasi? So what do we need in the business? Being honest. Being what? Honest to yourself. Leave alone other people. Honest to yourself. Honest to what you are doing. It doesn't matter what kind of big business or small. If you are not honest to yourself, hautaangalia your wife. Wewe unataka uende ununue suti ya 50 ya 10,000. Mara moja pu. Ndio sasa tukuone mara moja. Mtumba iko huko inauzwa, hata hii kiatu haiwezi, hii trouser ni ya 500. Na hauna nyumba. Haujalipa mtu mwingine. Hiyo ndio inaua sisi kwa sababu tunaogopa watu wako nayo. Let me tell you for now, that's by the way. People are importing things and they are not going for shops, big shops. Wanatafuta warehouse kama hii, wengine wako Roiro, wengine wako Industrial. They are just looking for people to market their goods. If you are not honest, will you be able to get a business? Yes? Something practical. Something what? Something hot. Kama wewe unaona sister mwingine ameweka nywele ya unasema hata na hujui alitoa pesa wapi, na wewe unataka unaambia brother, mimi nataka nywele kama hiyo, weave kama hiyo 10,000, unataka tu hiyo 10,000 na huwezi, si brother, mtaanza kukosana. God bless you. He knows what I'm talking about. Unataka to live your own means. Utaweka hiyo kitu ya 20,000 Na kama ni yule financial assistant naye anachukua contract analipwa 300,000. Ukimwona tu unafikiria nitataka nguo kama ile, hamutaweza. Goja hiyo nguo utavaa na itazeeka. Kwanza hii sabuni zinaosha nazo after 1 month ina fade. Nini nakusumbua? Nini nakusumbua? Class, ego. Unataka ukue kama fulani. Hiyo sio neno, si ndio? Tuliambiwa tufuate njia ya neno ituendelee kutuendeleza mpaka tufikie vile sisi tunaendelea. Ni kweli Jambi? Unataka kwa sababu ulisikia brother fulani alinunua kaplot, hujui alienda wapi? Wengine brother pastor, the basic we are having. Mimi niko kwa employment, kamshahara ni kidogo. Unaona brother huyu atunasikia anaendesha gari kubwa, anapata pesa mzuri. Unawacha your employment. Ile pesa ambayo unalipwa mwisho wa mwezi, ambao uko sure, brother, unawacha unasikia mtu anakufanyia hesabu, ate mimi hii nikiuza nitapata 300,000, unawacha hiyo kazi, unaenda kuanza biashara. Hebu fanya namna hii. Is it practical? People are leaving employment because they hear others are making a lot of money. Ile pesa wewe ambao unajua, unawacha kwa sababu fulani alianza, unawacha hiyo mshahara ya 20 of 30,000 or 40, unaweza kukimbia. Business has got challenges. My brother, business has challenges. How many people have left job? They are paid very well. Wanaenda kuanza, unafikia mtu mwingine anaenda kuweka ng'ombe. Ng'ombe za wapi? Na hakuna hata chakula. Jenga. Tunataka kwenda kuanza ng'ombe kama mtu fulani. Hizo ng'ombe ugonjwa itakuja, si ndio? Itafekwa yote. Business have got challenges. Let us clap for ourselves. Najua young people, sisi nyinyi mko afadhali. Huyu ndugu sasa is younger than me. They are newly married. Sisi hata hatukukuwa na gari. Wakati mnaenda courtship, nyinyi mko na gari, mna drive. That's true. Sisi hatukukuwa na gari. Ule mtu alikuwa na gari. Ni mmoja tu, nasema ni nani. Wewe uliniambia tu juzi, aliniambia ati mimi ndio nilikuwa na simu ya Samsung. Si ni kweli ni wewe? Kama nani? Kwa sababu mimi nilikuwa tunauza simu siku moja hapo, na tunakimbia tunachukua simu tunauzia customer, tunakimbia tunakwawalia tunauza. Sasa nikakuwa na kasimu ya Samsung. Na nikale kadogo. Sasa brothers hawakukuwa na, mimi ndio nilikuwa na simu ya nguvu. Share bana. Simu nipigie makofi bana. Practical things. Those are not stories. Kwa sababu mimi sikuwa na pesa, lakini nilijua wakati tuko tunauza simu, hii tunachukua kwa waria, tunauza unapata faida. Tulikuwa tunapata pesa. Hapo ndio nilipata pesa ya kufanya harusi. Na sikuwa na pesa hata. Watu walikuwa wanauliza sasa utaoa halafu ufanye nini? Si Mungu alijua vile nitafanya. Risk, tuliambiwa aje? Control your risk. Nilijua sisi hawezi shindwa kulipa nyumba ya 1,500. Kwani ni mimi ni zuzu? Ni kitu gani nakusumbua wewe? Saa hii wewe uko na nyumba hata ulipi rent. Ni nini nakusumbua? Wake up. Let us have these problems that are not, we can be able to solve this problem by ourselves. Yes? Wawero ninamjua. Tulikuwa tunakuja kwa shosho. Yes. Let us solve these problems by ourselves. Let us not bother pastor. It is because we are lazy. Another things ni barriers ambao zinafanya wewe usiendelee. Unaanza kusema huyu sister tuliambiwa ati Nabii alisema, nani alikuambia? Kwani wewe ni pastor? Nabii alisema sister wasiende kufanya kazi. Those are things that they happening those days. Is it true? We have to break those barriers. And if you have a problem, come and see pastor, atakusaidia kuovercome. Sasa huyu, kwani niko na pesa yangu na yeye? Whatever you get is for your family. She is a very good customer to us. Let us clap for this lady. Hata Sister Kamwati was a very good customer to us. Whenever there is a baby born in the church, alikuwa anakuja pale kwa mama Wangeshi. Where is that my girl? Anachukua hizo tusweta ya watoto. Very beautiful. Let me tell you a story before I conclude that. Wakati alienda kuzaa mtoto wa tatu. akiwa huko maternity room, she was also making business. Can you clap for her? You know why? Mimi aliniambia hebu niletee ile nguo ya white imewekwa katoi hapa. Kwa shop utoe pale uniletee. Sasa si wanaongea na wamama, they are waiting. Wengine wanabigirika huko chini, wengine wanafanya nini? Nani hajanunua sweta kwa mama? Hata wewe si umenunua? Yes. Sasa kaniambia this is my husband. Anauzaga hiyo nguo. Nilikuwa napeleka like 50. Hebu niletee biri ya blue, niletee ya white. Sasa hata madaktari wakashindwa wakaniuliza, na huyu ni nani? Na mimi si mjinga. Nikasema wewe sister, wacha mimi. Wachana na hiyo maneno, acha nitao. Nilikuwa nauza. Huko hata tukatengeneza customer. Let us clap for this lady. Brother Jeremiah, if you don't empower your wife, you listen to those barriers people are telling you, you have a very hard time. If you don't empower your wife in whatever little thing that you are doing, you think you are the king. You are not even the king. Hata hujafikia king. King gani? Na hata hawezi kupanga mikakati yake sawa sawa. Don't listen to those stories. They are fake. You will not grow. Wakati brother unakuja kuomba chakula, hiyo ndio rahisi, ndio mzuri. Mimi sijawahi chukua hata mahindi hapo kwa kanisa. Na mimi ndio nilikuwa nagawa. Si tulikuwa tunawaekea watu pale kanisani. Wewe ukubuki. Kanisani si kuna wale wajiwezi, ndio? Na kama ni mimi nagawa, si hata najigawia mingi. Lakini I have never taken. Nimewahi kuleta. If you don't empower yourself, your wife, or your wife don't empower you, you will fail. Atakuwa wewe ukienda kazi, badala ya kukuombea anasema nyina, anabaki ni mshene hakuombei. Hata ukienda kazini unapata boss ambao anakusubua, you don't perform. Kama kule kwetu tuchezi, lazima uproduce. Na maziwa ikiharibika kidogo tu hivi, mtaonana na mkubwa. Every morning lazima uandike report. Na sisi tunafanya 24 hours brother. Nikitoka siendi kulala. Naenda kujoin nini? She's a director. She doesn't wait for the workers to sweep for her. She always wake up and sweep. She's there always. Now, it is the times now I'm trying to see what I can do. So, what is bothering us? What do you have? What do you have in your hands? Currently, I called Brother Pastor to come and bless my machine. Now I am not doing in my manual. I have 17 there and I will sell. I can sell over 1 million shillings. Sitaweka kwa kazi. Huyu alikuja akaweka ile digital double knit. Ile iko na kichwa mbili na ile iko. Kwa hivyo ni mashini moja iko na mbili. Ile nyingine iko na mbili. Pastor came to pray for it. Let us clap for that. Mimi nilienda kuomba pesa wapi? Baba yangu hata hakukuwa na pesa. Hata huyu hana, mzazi alikufa kitambo. Wale mko nao brother zako wanataka tu hata kufuata tu. And let me tell you, Pastor, the other thing that make us fail. Kama unaanza kabiashara, unawaachilia your brothers. Your brothers in law ndio wanakuja control your wife. All they are the vice versa. Watakufuta. Kenyans, watu wa Afrika wanafutaga mtu chini. Hawataki uendelee. Wakikuona huko na kagari, alinunua kagari, hajui hiyo gari imetoka wapi. Yes? Siku moja tulihamia mahali. Tukaona sasa waje tuende tukaishi kwetu. I paid those people wale wanauza plot. There was a cousin alikuwa anauza huko. Tuliambiwa tulipe only 50,000. Viki 50 what? Na yeye kwa sababu you always take opportunity. Why don't you take opportunity from those people? You take advantage. Wale watu wanaoea uchukue hiyo advantage na ujisaidie nayo. Nikalipa 50,000. Na nikaambiwa chagua plot moja hapa. Kulikuwa na kanyumba ilikuwa imeshikwa kidogo hapo. Niko na loan nalipa ya hii kazi. Kanyumba ilikuwa ijawekwa roof. Nikasema ninataka ile. Hapo nje nikaangalia iko mawe. Sikujali hiyo nyumba itakuwa namna gani. Kwani nilikuwa nayo. Nikasema ninataka 217 number 217 plot. Kamuru. Tukachukua with 50,000, nikaambiwa you are the pioneer here. I'm going to facilitate you urufu na hii mawe na nini, wewe ndio utakuwa ukishughulikia hapa, watu wakikuja wanaona hiyo plot yangu naendelea. Na nikachukua 2. Last year hata ndio nilimaliza kulipa. Lakini fortunately Shetani hakafurahi. Wakati tulihamia huko hata tukumaliza huku ndani, niliweka roof na tukahamia. Waizi ndio hao wakakuja watu katukata sister mimi. Hukusikia? Nani alisikia? Gai kumbe hamkusikia. Na tulikuwa tu botera. Tukaanza kuishi hapo bila stima. Huyu alikuwa anatoka anaenda kazi na mimi natoka naenda kazi. Na namuacha hapo, anakaa hapo na watoto wangapi? Wakiwa wadogo. She's a very good lady. Let us clap for her. Only because I decided to empower her. Whatever we do, let us do together. Let us do together. Brother, unaenda kwa laji, wewe uliwacha 100 kwa nyumba. Na unaenda town, you are entertaining people. Ati kwa sababu wewe uko na suti, unaenda laji unalipia watu pesa yote laji. Alafu jioni hauna kitu. Na unalipa pesa ya mtu. That's how it should go. Control your risk. Whatever income you have, save it properly. Know where I'm putting my money. Don't be hindered by your fear. Uzembe wako utakufanya wewe ulale njaa, sister. Wacha kuangalia sister amevaa nguo namna gani. Goja yako itakuja. Kwani utavaa ngapi? Kibaki amewacha suti ngapi? Let us talk something practical. All right? Within a very span of time, because of being empowering na kuona lazima tuendelee na tumeshikana na groups, tumeendelea, tumekuwa watu ambao wameendelea. Sasa nikimalizia taki kushokesha nyinyi. Wewe unafanyanga nini ndio biashara yako iendelee? Looking me in another direction or another way. No. That is not my idea. But let us believe in ourselves. I thank God for the Brother Mugushia. Those people who we encourage one another. Wale ambao waliweza kusikia vile tunafanya. Wakajua lazima tujisaidie na tuweze kujimundu. Currently they are staying in their homes. That's true. Brother, what is wrong? Nini nakusumbua? Iko kitu nakusumbua? Mkono uko nayo. Akili uko nayo. Pesa usikue nayo. Hata saa hii naambia hata unaweza fuliza 10,000 uende Gikomba. Si utalipa? Ulisema tusifulize. Wacha aseme, ulisemaje? Tusifulize ya kuku. Tufulize ya kuanzisha brother, ule ambaye hanafikiria, wacha simama. Naenda kumaliza brother. He's a very good young man. Huyu nimemcourage na amekuwa na sasa ni deacon. Hata tulisema tutashikana tuende tununue buzi. Tununue buzi kwa sababu ya Jeremia. Because Mimi ni baseman yake. Hata kama mimi si deacon kwa sababu niko very busy na huyu ni deacon. Si ni mtoto yangu. Hapa niko na watoto kama 5. Na ninamwambia, nampigia simu, fuata sister, shika sister mkono. Hata wewe. Shosho alikuwa anatuadvise hivyo, tufanye kazi. Hata sister Jora Mdungu. Yes? Those are age mates. Hao ni wale tulikuwa nao. Now they are deacons. Some of them are pastors. He is a pastor. And I don't fear. He encouraged me as my pastor. Tulienda kwa Munene. He's a pastor. I feel very good he's serving me. Ile kitu inatusubua ni hii mentality kidogo. Ukiuza sweet, uuze sweet upate 500 iko shida gani? Utaki kuonekana na Believers Town ati kwa sababu yeye ni hoka. Kaa kwa nyumba. Kitu kingine ikakuja ya COVID sasa. Hiyo ndio sasa ilikuwa karibu kutumaliza. Si tuko hapo? COVID ndio hii. Sasa COVID ikiwa hivyo, kuna watu wa Kenya Airways waliwachishwa kazi wakaenda. Walikuwa wanapata, tulikuwa tunaona watu wanakaa hapa Hiru wanakuja Ruai kukomboa kuishi huko. Walikuwa wanalipa 50,000. Na hiyo COVID ikawatoa huko ikawapeleka Ruiru. Mahali ya 20,000 na 15,000. Is it true? Yes? COVID ikaku. Kwa sababu wewe ulikimbia huko, unalipa 50,000 na hiyo nyumba sio yako. Na wakati kazi itaisha, utafanya nini? Okay, sorry, aseme mtu asikae huko. Si ndio? Within your limit, within your needs, unaweza kaa. Lakini wakati hiyo kazi itaisha, utafanya nini? Mimi sikuenda mahali, hata kama sikuuza. You know what God did? Hizi maski tumeshona. Hizi. Mungu ni wa maajabu kwa sababu Mungu akifungua njia, watu walikuwa wanapanga raidi kwa duka ya mama Wangeci hapa. Lete pisi 100, lete imekatwa, tunalala tukikata usiku, maski za kampuni. Over sijui how many thousands. How many? Even today. Yes? Hatukuenda mahali, hata hatukufukuzwa kwa nyumba kwa sababu hata kama pesa ikakuja ya mask. Hiyo si tunajua kushona, kuekelea. Si lazima tushone sweta. Tunashona nini? Si kuna wewe si unaenda, you have a school or your mother or somebody. Yes. Si shule zilifungwa. Ungekaa tu hivyo, si mlianza hii inaitwa digital. And you're earning something. Nani alikuwa affected kwa hiyo COVID? Watu, kila mtu, si ndio? Ile kitu ambayo unaweza fanya, ndio hebu angalia, fanya hii mikono. Iangalie tena. Hiyo kazi yenye unafanya na kompyuta inaweza isha. Inaweza nini? Utafanya nini na mikono yako? Let us start thinking about that. Let us now commit ourselves that from now hatutakuwa na uoga, hata kama serikali italeta itukuzuie kwa biashara. Kwa sababu saa hii biashara inaenda kuishi. Uzi tulikuwa tunanunua 750. Saa hii ni 1,200 per kg. What do you do? And all those things are imported. Kampuni hizi ziko hapa haziwezi kutuafford kutupatia uzi ya kushona nguo. So inakubidi sasa inaitwa to sustain your business, ungojee wakati things will be better. So if you are not paying for the rent for your house, kama wewe Mungu amekuwa na mashini yako, hiyo ni operation. Hata mimi hiyo naweza kuendesha. Si lazima ni atilikuwe na fundi hapo aniendeshe hiyo mashini. Si nitajifundisha na niendeshe. Si huyu ataiendesha. Kuna kitu itakwama. Wangeci now is now form 3. Akimaliza ataendesha hiyo mashini. Kwani nakwambia aje pastor? Nani amekwambia your wife cannot do what you do? Hata ile wewe unajua uliambiwa na ulifundishwa na mtu. Nani amekwambia hawezi jua? Si unaona ladies wanafanya kazi ya mikono? Unamweka nyumba kwa nini? Si usaidie ujue vile utafanya hiyo avocado ulete, aanze kuvuka kwa karatasi, auzie neighbors kuna wholesale. Only 2,000. Brother Jenga. Giri gapi? Inatoka hapa Kakusi. Enda asubuhi ununue hiyo avocado uweke kwa matatu ushukishe pale kwa Koroiro. Kama sisemi wewe, kama hakuna kazi funga. Kuja nazo hapa. Unaona Sister Eva? Si unaona anafanya nini? She's earning her daily bread. Okay? Let us encourage one another, brother. Whoever is now akona knowledge ya to advise in the financial, let us welcome her. I thank God for the pastor. Because now, some of these things, if you are not able to manage ourselves, the business you learn, because there is balancing. Okay? Total costs, na vile unauza, ubalance, ujue hii mshahara, hata huyu sijawahi kumwandikia mshahara. Sijui hata tutajilipaka nini. I was thinking now we should now structure so that we can know somebody should be paid a salary. Then also alisema mambo ya unajua mtu mweusi hafikirii sana. Kwa sababu wewe unafikiria utaishi me now I'm 45. Sisi tunaanza sasa. Tuanze kusave, si ndio? Tuanze kusave. Tuweke NSSF. Hata pension sasa siko ile voluntary. Kwa sababu kuna siku utakuwa mzee. Hata hiyo biashara yako ndogo, save 100 ngapi? 3 kwa NSSF utaandikisha na utakuwa na pesa wakati utazeeka. Hii meno itaisha. Hata kama ni mandazi unauza, kwa nini unaogopa kuuza mandazi? Ongeza kitu kingine kama hiyo tulikuwa pale, hiyo mandazi ikuwe sweet, uweke vizuri, uende uuze. Sawa sawa? Kama wewe uko kwa hii inaitwaje? Hii tuna hii gari mnatubeba nazo zinaitwaje? Uber. Si wewe uko kwa Uber. Make sure ukibeba mtu unampeleka vizuri, kesho atakuita. Atafanya nini? Atakuita. This country, Brother Mwendwa, have no honest people. There are very few people. There are people who have got a lot of money. Mtu anafikiria mimi nitanunua gari nipatie dereva gani huyu achuge gari yangu. Hakuna. Brothers wako hapa wako na driving license. Hakuna mtu ambao ni honest. Ukipewa hiyo gari ya mtu, wewe unaenda na mahali unataka. Anakuona kwa track mahali huko na sio mahali ulikuwa unaenda, unaitishwa hiyo gari. If we can be able to do something, kama wewe unaweza kuempower somebody, do something ukijua kwamba only believers can be able to assist you and be able to make your goal. Na kama wewe kama ni believer unataka ustritiwe kama believer, ukikuja pale kwa shop ati sasa ni God bless you. Ukifanya makosa ukichelewa, hutaki nikwambie. That is another problem. Note that. Si hata wewe niliona ulikuwa unauliza mtu wa duka. Ulipata? Believer. Ulipata believer. Ukiandika believer, sorry, tuongee hapa polepole. Anataka akuje kazi saa 4, si ndio? Si ndio? Na usimuulize yako wapi. That's how we are going to do. Let us take these young people, tuwasaidie na tushikane mikono. Pastor will have an easy time. Na tukikuja kwa kanisa, tutakuwa na easy time. Na ile problem ambayo tutakuwa nayo itakuwa solved. Yes? Tuambie vile sisi hii shida ambayo inatusumbua ni shida ambayo tunaweza kutoa sisi wenyewe. Na tujue God is always kama watu wa dunia wanaweza kusaidiwa na Mungu. Naona mtu ana excel kwa business. Kwa nini believers excel? Because we are very proud. Nasharia. Na tunajenga kanisa ya Mananga, mtusaidie. Nimeshindwa ni I'm the chairman of that church. Hata kama tunajenga hii yetu, mtanirushia kitu sio saa hii baadaye. Let us clap for that. Baadaye hiyo msisikie saa hii baadaye. So let us combine our efforts. Identify your potentials. Look at me now because I want to finish now. Identify your potential, what you can do simple and feel good when doing it. Do it. Tunajazana huko tunaenda kununua handkerchief Kamukoji. And sisters are there. Why don't they make handkerchiefs and pack them? Na mnaanza kuziuza kwa market. If there is a brother who is empowered in mambo kama yule mambo ya computer na wengine, tunakuita unakuja unatuwekea systems so that when we are selling our products, we will not be able to make what? Loss. All right? Kama ni kuuza chakula, mshele ile ya watu wanakula mshele ya kutoka, watu wengine walianza kuchanganya hiyo mchele. Watu wanatafuta mshele ile original ni gani? Mchele ile original ni gani? Mimi hii ndio hata tukikosa kuhubiri nyingine hii itatutosha tu. Let us stand up. Kwa sababu hapa tunaongea practical. Is that true, Pastor? Yes, this is what is destroying people. This is what destroying our young people. Pastor siku moja alichukua tissue, akaakisha kiberiti, akaakisha hivyo akasema, wewe ukipanga harusi, ukipanga si hiyo pesa ni ile umepata kwa income. Si tuko kwa biashara? Unaitumia yote the same day na mkienda kwa nyumba hakuna kitu. Tutabadilisha mienendo? Yes. Tutasave? Yes. Vile tunaambiwa? Yes. To save for business, to save for prosperity, yes. And God will guide us and God will help us. Mimi sina kitu kingine sasa. Ile yote nilikuwa nataka kusema nimesema. Na sina ingine. Mimi nimeomba Mungu atusaidie. Usiogope brother. Usiogope brother. Come to the pastor atakusaidia. Umwambie mimi niko na giri 5. Atakuitia na advisor ule atakusaidia. Utaweza kuinvest. So tunataka tuimbe chorus moja ndio tuombeshe tuwe. Na mimi nitatoroka niende. Yeah, okay. Wacha aseme kitu kidogo tu, pastor anasema hivyo. Kaendi kidogo.
God bless you. Yes, mimi sina ya kusema mingi. Kidogo tu. Juu najua Mungu wako. Huyu amenitoa mbali. Na nashukuru yeye. Mimi nimetembea mguu mpaka Australia. Nimefanya kazi huko. Ile kidogo napata nampatia. Lakini ananiadvise tufanye hivi, tufanye hivi. Nashukuru Mungu juu. Saa hii watu hata nikikaa hapa bado simu. Saa hii nimetoka tu nje. More than 20 missed call. Watu wanataka vitu zao. Lakini nashukuru Mungu. Juu najua ni Mungu alianza hii kazi na tusisahau na Mungu mwenye alitupatia. Hatuwezi enda tena kwa biashara tusahau na Mungu. Hiyo nayo ni makosa. Juu Mungu naye akikupea usisahau na yeye. Lakini mtu mwenye anaweza taka akuje aone tu kazi. Sasa hii niko na watu Saturday siendagi pahali. Hata ukiniona pahali Saturday by saa 9 nimeenda. Juu watu wamepanga laini kwangu wanataka pesa. Lazima walipwe. Saa zingine Sunday kama last Sunday sikuwa. Juu watu wamekaa kwa duka wanagoja mizigo yao wanadeliver shule. Lakini nashukuru Mungu. Ule mtu mwenye anaweza taka hata kama ni kuona hiyo kazi ajue vile tunaweza endelea nini ako karibu. Aone biashara, ajue vile tunaweza msaidia, tuko willing kumsaidia. Lakini tunashukuru Mungu. Pastor alituombea na tunaona makuu. Na tunashukuru. Asante.
Mkutano nani anachukua? Oh, yeah, sijui. God bless you very much. Kama nimeongea kitu ambao sio mzuri, wewe chukua ile mzuri wachana hiyo ingine.
Thank you very much. Mungesimama hapo tuwapigie makofi mzuri. Simameni tafadhali, we give you a nice ni wale nilikwambia wasimame, nyinyi mkeni. Wengine mkeni ndio wasimame tuwaone, tuwapigie makofi tukiwaona. Sawa sawa. Thank you very much, Brother Peterson and your wife, for that captivating presentation. May God richly bless you. Have you enjoyed that session? Amen. Thank you very much. Now, just watching the time, I don't want to take much more time.
said a lot of good things, reactions. We will just stretch a little bit because as we wait for lunch to be ready. I think we've taken tea, and I'm sorry for those who missed tea. So we'll stretch a little bit. So are there any questions? Yes? Yeah, you can just ask. Let's go.
Is actually a reaction. A reaction. Kuna kitu ameongea na amerudia na sister ameongea, sijui kama mnashika. Is actually when you are working together. You should work together as a family. Wakati sasa account ati mtu ako na account yake na hata hujui yule mwingine anafanya. When you are together, actually hakuna kitu kizuri na kitafanya whatever you are doing to be together. Hata yule ambaye hafanyi kazi, if it is a brother who is working, let the wife be an open book, so that actually a wife can demand a lot when actually the man is earning so little, lakini wewe unataka uwe compare yourself with the other people. Just actually balance. When actually you open to your wife, because hakuna mtu mwingine, it's not even your father. Hata watoto wako mimi naambia watu, hakuna mtu amekukaribia kama your wife. Your wife is next to you beside God. So when actually you are open to your wife, mtafanya kazi pamoja. Kwa sababu kila wakati mnafanya
we get a testimony like that from one of us, it's really very cultivating and encouraging. And just for a little comment for Peterson and his wife, they have gone long journeys he has taken us through. And when we wanted to start the Lord's Supper, because of what they are dealing with, they said, "Oh, Pastor, don't ask for towels. All towels will come from me." And that's what happened. And beside the towels, they also branded them. If you see the Lord's Supper towels, they are all branded by the same machines that we are talking about. So it's good to serve God with whatever He gives you. You return it back to God. And we're really very appreciative and really honor them and continue that way. The Lord will bless you as you continue. God bless you.
Thank you. So I'll maybe also make a small reaction. I think Peterson, that was like an MBA class. He's covered a lot of things. A few things I picked. He may not have used the terms that we are using in our classes, but the concept in practical terms were there. Change is constant. He talked about change so many times. I know that business, it would just, when things change, he would just change his business to react to the change. He also brought in something very important when we are doing business about integrity and ethics. And he was constantly on that in our lives, in our businesses, in what we do, we need to have integrity and be very ethical. So I was very, very happy. And the incremental growth, 1 + 1, I've never had professors put it that way, but that's really what it is. Just growing concentric, what do you call it? Concentric growth within the business. So I think that was extremely good, Peterson, and I really appreciate. So now, thank you so much. God bless you. So what we want to request, it's lunchtime. They are still getting ready, and we've just come from tea. Is it okay with you people if we stretch for another 30 minutes, take another session from Elizabeth, and go for lunch? That's okay? Yes. Okay, over to you. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Let's put our hands together and welcome Elizabeth for her second session. I think the tea is still in our stomach. So, Elizabeth, you're very welcome for session 2. And then we will go for lunch later. Feel free to finish your slides.
All right, yes. Thank you very much. Wow, that was a great session, right? Yes. And everything ties together. Honestly, the things that Peterson has shared, they are so real, so we don't have to be employed. We just need to be diligent with the giftings that God has given us, and we will thrive because our God is a faithful God. So we'll go to a session which is quite short. It's about budgeting, and he's just putting up the slides. And to avoid financial stress, because sometimes financial stress can be one of your big issue. Budgeting and debt management, overcoming financial stress. Because a lot of times we are walking around and there's a lot of financial stress, but people don't share. You only get to learn about it later. So we'll just look at budgeting and debt management and how these two will help you to overcome any financial stress that you may encounter as a family, as a person, in whatever area of your life. So moving on, financial stress. What is it? I know we hear people saying, because these days children say, I'm depressed. I don't even know what that is. They use such big term. I'm depressed. I'm thinking, God, you don't know anything. Anyway, financial stress. There's a definition. It is a condition that is the result of financial or economic events that create anxiety, worry, or a sense of scarcity. The pandemic was one of them. It caused a lot of panic. You didn't know whether you'll have your job, your business, and Peterson has shared. It happened, and they could have panicked and then said, okay, now, as tumemalizwa. But do you see how they looked at it on the other side, and they got a solution to the problem that was coming? They didn't just panic and stay in that panic mode. But a lot of people are finding themselves in this financial stress. Part of it is because of the things that you have done yourself. Others are caused by things that you have no control, like the pandemic. None of us, it affected all of us. Not one of us, all of us, all over the world. We went through the same. But there are some who have gone to the deep pit of depression. They're unable to rise up. There are others who have capitalized on that pandemic and they are thriving. And there are new businesses that have come up, like the digital space, which would not have happened if the pandemic had not come. So you can overcome some of these financial stressors and come out successfully, and you can also avoid getting yourself into financial stress. The things you can control, you must control. The ones that you can't, you seek God and He will open for you doors that you will be able to overcome. So moving on, we say, what are some of those sources of financial stress? One is debt, loans. So as much as loans are good, and I know we want to do business, be very careful what debt you're going to pick. And we say in finance, there is good debt and there is bad debt. I'll start with the bad part. The bad debt is the debt that you're taking to consume. And it's the one that banks hawk a lot. Consumer loans. In fact, they even call it, as it is, consumer loans. Kula. Jibambe tu na hizi loans. That's consumer loans. Then when they do projects, they will tell you it is project loan, it is mortgage, it is business loan. Those are that are working. It's money that is going to work. But consumer loans, they're just saying, just upgrade your lifestyle. Whatever you want to do. It's upon you. Wewe ujue kenye unataka kufanya, utafanya. So the bad debt is actually consumer loan. Loans that you're picking to finance things that are not going to generate any income. And I'm not saying every time you take a loan, it must always work. Sometimes we start businesses and then they don't work. You get a lesson. It's not all loss, isn't it? But be sure, don't try with a billion shillings, then you burn. Hey, usichome hivyo. Hapana. When you're trying new things, you also try with, in a very the way he said, 1 + 1, 2 + 1, like that. So you don't start taking, for example, the biggest loan when you're starting the business. Be calculated about it, because that is risk. If it succeeds, you now go to the next level like that. So debt is one of the stressors that we have. The second stressor is low income. And low income can be because of how you're operating or where you're employed. Once you realize that you're earning low income and you need to increase your income, you need to look at what ways can you increase your income. Can you do a second job? Can you take a course and upgrade, move one level higher? Or what can you do to bring in more income? Because low income can be a big stressor, especially because our responsibilities and our needs keep growing, especially when we have family. So you started initially maybe 20,000 income was taking care of you and your wife fairly well. Then a child comes. You know, you've increased your costs. That income can't continue being good income for the whole family. It starts becoming thinning and becoming smaller. So low income, you have to look at ways of adding to your income, either by doing other side things, upgrading yourself, the way we said, personal development, and making sure that maybe if you have one large expense you cover, you can bring it down, like rent. So things like those. Then the third stress factor is high expenses, and they are tied to the income. Be sure to know your expenses. I know sometimes we don't even do the analysis of M-Pesa charges we are paying per month. It looks like petty, right? But I'm telling you, when you do the analysis of the M-Pesa charges maybe you're paying, and I'm just giving this as an example, you'll be able to tell, I think I'd rather go with cash than pay everywhere with M-Pesa, because you're loading a 10% on top of every good you're buying by just paying by M-Pesa. If they don't have a buy goods, you're loading. They're telling you pay bill. You will see. There are people who tell you pay bill. You will see that your cost of transaction is very high. And there are many other areas that actually eat into expenses. Rent, of course, you need to understand how much percent is it accounting for on your income. And we say, as a general rule, your rent should not be more than 30% of your income. So, uko na salary 100,000, you find somebody is living in a house of 50,000. Bad decision. Bad decision. So you need to know 30% should be like your limit levels. Then the fourth thing of causes financial stress is transmitted stress by your partner. I know this doesn't sound like a financial training. Near pastors, see yangu. That one is discussed by pastors. So we can transmit stress, financial stress, to each other as partners. Maybe you're careless in how you're using your money. You know you're transmitting it straight back to your wife or to your husband, depending on how you use money. So if you have money, indiscipline issues with money as a couple, and you know your weakness, you're the type, when you have money, you go shopping. Just, you know what, delegate that to the other partner. Know yourself and just separate yourself so that you don't pass on this financial stress to your partner. So, but this is a real stress factor. This is really, really big. Sometimes even with big money, you find that there's still stress in that home because pesa haitoshangi. Money, there's always a big need for money. So you need to be very aware of your relationship with money. Then the other stress factor that you get is investing in bust or toxic investments, Ponzi schemes. And I wish I had more time to tell you how to identify a Ponzi scheme, because they don't come with one size and shape and characteristic, but there are things that you can see in an investment and you know here, tutaoshwa. Kama? She's asking kama? Hey, ni mingi, you will not be able to tell them until you have some financial knowledge. One of the biggest things about Ponzi schemes, they always guarantee high returns. Well, mtu anakuambia, let 100K, you'll get back 100K in a month. 100% return, utoe wapi? Unaona? That's first flag, red flag. Another red flag of toxic investments or Ponzi scheme is that the people who run these Ponzi schemes they never tell you what they do with the money. It's always a story. They create these things. They can't explain to you their business model. You see, there Peterson has told us, alitengeneza mask. Uulize mtu wa Ponzi, mnafanyanga nini na hii pesa? Akwambia acha tu, don't worry, you'll get your 100%. Well, later to pesa. And there's a kahari thing, you'll miss. There's that feeling of you are going to miss out. This is a fear of missing out. FOMO, fear of missing out. If you don't come this week, itakuwa next week. So there's that element of they never explain how they make the money. There are no two ways of making money. Hard work, hizi mikono. Lazima akueleze ni nini unafanya na pesa. Kama ni biashara, show me what you're doing and how it is making the money. So you'll find, for example, some years back, people were told, buy a plot, and then for us, we are going to make for you the greenhouse, and the greenhouse will earn you money. In fact, the greenhouse was earning more money than the cost of the plot. Yes. If you did your maths, you could tell there's something wrong with this. Yes. If they're that genius, they can do it. They keep all this money. Why do they want our money with a plot? It was a Ponzi. Unaambiwa tutapanda bamboo. Kilifi. Hata haujawahi ona, hujaenda Kilifi. Unaambiwa ni bamboo. Tunazipanda, tunauza sijui China, sijui wapi. So there are very many signs that can show you that they are it's a Ponzi. Then they guarantee returns. You know, investments, just like business, there are no guaranteed returns. It's hard work. They tend to guarantee you returns. So they'll tell you, we are guaranteeing you 20% per week. I don't know what. And the guarantee, the truth about guarantees is that guarantees are usually bought from insurance companies. Hawananga, ni jina tu wanatumia because they know our mindset. We love hearing about a guaranteed element of investments. Most investments do not guarantee returns. That's the truth of the matter. Just like business. Kinaweza umana. That's the truth. Those are the things he was talking about. Challenges are there in investing. But the truth is, you are rewarded for the risk you take. Ponzi schemes, they tend to tell you there's no risk. Hapa hakuna risk. Well, later too. So be very, very careful. So those are some of the things that can cause you. And there are many, many other factors that can cause you financial stress. So those are the sources of financial stress. I try to bring them out even on a pictorial way. The next slide, we look at strategies that you can employ to overcome financial stress. Diagnose yourself. Jifanyie hiyo triage. Unaona vile tunaambianga na mtoto? Peleka mtoto triage. So anaangalianga hiyo tu heart rate, temperature, nini. Even in your personal life, you need to triage yourself. What you own less what you owe, and we already did this. So be sure that on a regular basis, you're triaging yourself. You're taking call yourself in a meeting of yourself and ask, how am I doing? Am I healthy financially? Because there are things, you could be doing things and you're sliding into a pit and you don't know until you find yourself at the cliff, doing things without reflecting. So reflect and make sure that you diagnose your net worth. Then the other thing that you can do, the next slide, is, and this one we had already done, net worth, personal balance sheet, we had already done all those, so I won't go so much onto that. Let's go to the next slide. The second thing you can do is have a brilliant budgeting ability. And these are the tips I'll give you as a family that can help you to do your budgeting. Create a family budget, not a personal budget. Create a family budget. When you create a family budget, it means that you're being transparent to each other. You know where money is going and which money is coming and going out. Set both short and long-term financial goals. Short-term goals are things like school fees every year has to be paid, guaranteed. Now that one I can use it. Najua lazima utalipa. Medical care, you have to provide for it because one can fall sick. So if you don't have a medical insurance, you need to consider having at least NHIF so that you're covered. Those are short-term goals that always we will have at least our medical cover there. Then long-term financial goals are, we want to build our home. Do we start saving now? And you set, like in 5 years, 10 years, we want to be in our own home. And Peterson helped us to understand that. He set a goal. And he said, it didn't matter. They are not plastered. We just needed to put the roof. Tuingie. Mama angesha kaingia. Hivo. That is how simple it can be. Otherwise, you can make it complex. The day you will import all those furniture from Dubai, wherever, those are now stories. You live within your means. Know where you can accept. We are not saying you must repeat what Paul or Peter or John did, but make sure that you are working with your goals and you know where you're heading. If you want to develop or buy maybe a plot, plan ahead and work towards it. Every goal, once you go ticking, you'll be looking back and you're like, these are Thanksgivings. You look back and you're like, we thank God we've been able to do this, because you set the goals, rather than being all over and random. If you are random, you'll find you'll be misallocating money. Don't be random. Of course, I don't forget to say there are opportunities that can come and you're like, this is it. I need to do it even if I had not planned it. Evaluate it, and then now you reallocate. We are not saying you cannot be spontaneous, but it cannot be you act spontaneous. Mimi nitafanya tu kenye nataka. No. But once in a while you can find that there are opportunities that have come, you need to be that spontaneous. And you take that advantage of that situation. Most likely it's going to give you a big payoff, but weigh your options very well. Plan ahead of the school year. This is for those of us who have children in school. You know, once you get that child, it is a guarantee that you want to take them through school. Be sure you know how do you want to educate your child, through the national government side or private. Once you have made that decision as a family, start planning what kind of a school do we want our child to go to. And that is why insurance companies even help you to buy covers, education covers for your children. It will help you a lot to take away the strain of a lot of money that may be required maybe in the university and things like that. And I know all of us want to take our children through the whole school system up to college or university. So plan for it. Don't just sit back. Plan for it, start saving it. And plan ahead. Don't wait. You know, like we know many Kenyans, January 1st year, we go there and everybody is complaining. Aki ni kugumu. Imagine school fees was still coming. It was known. It is not something that comes as an emergency. So don't make school fees an emergency. We know it. Let's plan ahead. You will find yourself with less stress because you planned. Try as much as possible. And put your child in a school that you know you can finance all through. Then get the family together on budgeting. If they have grown, get them into budgeting. Let them know what it takes when money comes. Sometimes, even involve them where they need to, like you're going shopping. Tell them we want shopping. Put the whole list. They put the list. They will just start cutting those things they were adding. You'll see how they'll cut. We have only 10,000. They first of all list everything. Then you start saying, okay, so your budget is coming to 30,000. You have only 20. What do we cut? You'll see they will even know what to remove. Nani watoto, wanaelewa. Anakuambia, basi tutoe your sausage. Oh, tusitoe school fees? Tutoe sausage. That one is not very dead. And children are clever, by the way. If you involve them, you will see they will even help you be more sober when making those decisions. Sometimes we think we are doing excesses because of the children, but actually, if they see the real need, they will help you to align to the true north. They will give up those things with you, even when you say, we can't afford the toy. Why? Let's do the budget. This. They'll see their toy is falling off, and they will live with it very comfortably, rather than, hakuna pesa. Na usiniambie tena. You know, that kind of thing, that of shush. Never tell me again about that. You don't know what. You don't shush them. Just use them. They will see sense and they will help you. Even in business, they are able to see and involving, and I say this now to the business community, when your children are older, integrate them. I love what I heard Peterson saying. Si wangesha namaliza form 4. Si atakuja hapa. That is very good. Integrate them. One of the big things, and I'm digressing, that we are seeing with family businesses is they are lacking continuity. And it's because the parents shielded the children from the business. So those businesses, they are unable to move forward when the parents are a little older and they want to exit. They don't know how to exit because they didn't involve the children. So integrate them into this business. Let them know how it works. Let them start experiencing it. And once they do that, you will find that you will also be able to push some burdens or some work to them. The way you're saying Sundays, you're there, they're queuing to pay. Once Wangeshi is 18, 20, trust her, let her pay the junior workers. Si hata iba hiyo pesa, by that atakuwa excited. If you keep them away, the truth is they'll be waiting for the day you'll blink. What? Mzee, ati mzee hayuko kazi leo. They will be jipambaing. They will not be protecting or growing. And they're the ones who will come with new ideas because you see things are changing constantly. They're in the world of a lot of information. They can give you great ideas that you did not have. Really good ideas. So we'll say like what Paul told Timothy. Do not let anybody despise you because you're young. Let's not despise these young minds. Yes, sometimes they can tell you things which are out of this world, but just tell them, pause there. I have a bit of experience. We will try that later. But listen to them so that they are able to continuously bring out the best out of them. And you can see what you'll pick and what you won't pick. But once they feel they are not needed, they stop sharing. And that's it. So for business owners, you've got to integrate your family, not only on budgeting, but also in the management of these family resources, whether it is in the farm and things like that. I see my son telling the father, hey, these people are still slashing, and there is mechanization. This is not good, you know. It's too hard. I mean, him is seeing mechanization. The father is seeing acha alime, you know. Maybe one day he will integrate that. Sawa. Then another thing about budgeting. Start with the most important categories. I had already said that. Housing, food, debt, ethics. Debt. Lipa deni ya wenyewe. So when you're budgeting, you cannot start with entertainment. You've got to start with your most important categories. Actually, you should have started with investing, saving, housing, food, debt. Then you go to other things. That way, you'll be able to do a better budget. Pay off your debt and start with the most costly debt. So if today you are here and you go and analyze your debt, let me use examples here. So say you have a debt of 10,000 on Fuliza. What is the interest rate on Fuliza? For those who know, 1% per annum. 1% per month. Well done. Anyone with a different opinion? Fuliza in 1% per day. Ati haujawahi ambiwa. They will never tell you that. These people are bad. It's 1% per day. It is 365% per annum. Tell me what business you can put that can pay that kind of return. Ukiona nikisema achana na Fuliza, my friend, nothing looks like it is manageable at one. It's not. KCB M-Pesa? It's how much? 7% per month. Per year? 84%. Sako? 1% per month. Bank? 13-14% per annum. Now, your friends? 0. So let's have debts. You have Fuliza. Today, we are analyzing ourselves. So we are going to do that later today. So you have a Fuliza, you have a KCB M-Pesa, you have a bank loan on the other, on another bank loan, and you have a debt with your friend. Which one should you pay first? You want now to start killing these debts. Should pay your Fuliza. Don't say it is the smallest. In this case, you should consider the rate it is accruing. Pay Fuliza first. Extinguish that. Then next, you'll go to KCB M-Pesa. Is it KCB M-Pesa? Yes, it is the next most expensive loan. So try and reduce the most expensive ones if you are trying to reorganize your debt, so that your friend, you can go and negotiate. This is for friendship. Nakukuja tu, wambia ki nimesukumwa this month, so niwie tu, nitakulipa, and I just need to manage our relationship. I don't run away from you, I manage our relationship. You're most likely going to extend that same 0%, another 1 month. But what will M-Pesa Fuliza do? They will banish you and put you on CRB, isn't it? So you can manage. And I tell the mama mbogas, what they need is just good relationships. It's not Fuliza. If they are good to each other, they can get loans at 0 from each other and sustain their businesses rather than Fuliza. But many people, when I have a debt, I run, I duck, I do. Don't duck. You need those relationships. Your net worth is your network is your net worth. Those people are lending you at 0. Amazingly, you cannot get that kind of rate anywhere, not even in the bank. But be diligent to pay off, and then now you reorganize your loans. Once you have reorganized, now stick on the lane where you are not accumulating expensive debt. Once you now have learned, ni kama mtu ameona mwangaza. Once you have known the Lord, you cannot start looking back. If you look back, you are tempting the devil with his 7 demons. They will come on you. Na itakuwa mbaya zaidi. So you cannot look back once you've seen the light. So after this, si pasta hakuna hiyo maneno, imeisha. Kwa sababu tumefunguka macho. Fuliza nini hakuna. Foresee rising expenses. Start be the person to be able to anticipate which expenses are rising. School fees, they will be adjusted. So don't budget with a mindset last year school fees will still be this year's school fees. Most likely they won't. Adjust your school fees. If you have rent, you know that you signed your rent license, it will go up. Budget that into the following year. And you make those adjustments, and it will help you to know what do I need to cut, because this is rising, it has my income risen. So even when you're negotiating, if you're changing jobs, you'll be able to negotiate better when you know how your expenses are growing. Because also negotiating is another factor. You're increasing your income. You won't just accept a job for the sake of accepting a job. So track your progress. Don't stop at just doing the first budget. Track your progress. Be able to see the progress. Now, debt. Debt, and I think we have talked a lot about debt. It's like a cliff. It can take you down and finish you completely, even the richest man. Have you seen how Sri Lanka has gone down? That place, everybody has sunk with the country just because the country didn't manage its debt. All the Sri Lankan people, they are now in a crisis, total crisis. It's the same thing at a personal level. If a country doesn't manage its debt, it will take its population into the dogs. Even us as family, if we don't manage our debts, we will definitely give ourselves to a lot of stress. So debt management is a way to get your debt under control through financial planning and budgeting. So those two work together. You can't talk about debt management if you're not budgeting. You will not be able to get out of it. You have to think about it actively and extinguish the debt levels that you have. The goal of a debt management plan is to use these strategies to help you lower your current debt and move towards eliminating it completely. If it is possible, consumer loans should not be in your books completely. But progressive and what they call, in government, they call it capital budget. You see that they usually say that our budget is almost 80% recurrent. Hiyo ndio wananga nayo nje kurudi salaries, nothing else. Imagine, only 30% goes to development. You need to have only development loans. If it's only development loans, you are improving your balance sheet. But if you have consumer loans, you need to be very afraid. You borrowed so that you make a call that, I keep forgetting what it is called, okoa jahazis. That, it might sound like I have only 50 bob, but my friend, why do you have it? It's not a good thing. You're going to pay a big amount. Even if it is 5 shillings, you need to feel the pain of every shilling that you pay someone else just because you are satisfying not an emergency, it was just because it was available. Since Safaricom gave me this option, therefore I used it. No, don't do that. So manage and eliminate consumer loans. Stick only with development loans. And even as you grow older, you need to extinguish those development loans. When you're older, you don't want banks calling you to remind you of, kuna loan fulani, haijalipwa. Unashindwa, hiyo nayo tulichukua lini? Which development? By the time, as you age, loans should also be going lower. Okay? Sawa sawa? Tuko pamoja? Aki lunch. Haya, tips to manage and reduce your debt. List all the debts and the total. You list all of them. Be honest with yourself. Ziweke, andika. Hata hiyo ya mama mboga yenye ulichukua sukari na hujalipa, hiyo ni deni. Iweke hapo. Jua tu. The shopkeeper, I owe them 1,000. Fuliza, list all of them. If you're honest with yourself, you'll be able to see, hii ni ya waste, isitarudia. This one, I didn't make use of it well. This circle emergency, I could have done without it, and things like that. So list all your debt. Compare your income, expenses, and debts. Be sure to see through all of them, especially if your expenses are going beyond your income. It means you're financing your living standards with debt. You know that? Nika tu serikali yetu. They make a budget of 3.3 trillion, then they tell us the revenue they collect is 2 trillion. Maanisha wanaomba 1 trillion. So you're no different from the government. Be sure that your expenses are not above your income. Be sure of that. Pay your debts on time. Figure out how much extra you can budget to pay off any debts and determine your debt reduction strategy. Hapo ndio sasa mnaenda mnaongea. Hapa mama fulani tuna reduce tuko na strategy. So kisha kuja na strategy, you will win. You will win together. So your debt reduction strategy has to be there. And you won't take loans because you're gambling or you're going to crypto or you're going to forex trading. Don't take debt. That is not good. You can't borrow money to go and risk it all. You can't do that. So you're reducing the debt and only keeping debt that is development related. Okay? Perfect. How do you overcome financial stress? Again, set up an emergency fund. One of the things that human beings ignore is that emergencies will come. And trust you me, nasi kurogwa, zitakuja. Kama tuko chini ya hii jua, tutapatana na hiyo vitu ya emergency. Hizo zitakuja. It's almost guaranteed because we are human, because emergencies face or come to people like you and I. So we will face them. So the only way out is to make sure that you have an emergency fund. However small it is, set up an emergency fund. Emergency si fuliza. Emergency ni kujinyima leo na kuweka pesa on the side because you know chochote chaweza kutokea. And I'm not saying we don't have faith. Actually, I have faith. I am born again. It is not a matter of that you have little faith, that's why you have an emergency. You know, I've had people argue with me like that you have little faith, that's why you have an emergency fund. No. Faith is there, but we've got to be diligent and we have to have foresight. Even as Christians, we've got to have foresight. Do you see how many people, and here I'm going to just say, every time somebody, you are added into a WhatsApp group, tutoe pesa, Akiwa Africa, do you know abroad they don't do those things? Because when we are born, it is a known that we will die. So you can actually plan ahead. I pray that one day Kenyans, we will reach there where we won't have to do these WhatsApp groups. And it was so painful during COVID. There were so many. And those families, they were stressed. We thank God that we don't have that stress right now. But can we put aside some emergency fund? Yes. Set at least 10 to 20% of emergency. And we usually say 6 months of your expenses. So if your expenses, because you did budgeting, now you know your expenses in a month are, say, 50,000, 100,000. Accumulate an emergency fund equal to 6 months of your expenses. That if income does not come, you would be able to go into that and use it for that period before you can stabilize again. Save, invest your emergency fund. Don't put it in crypto. Haya, umefanya kazi mzuri, you've put aside money. Then you go and put it in crypto. Actually, you've just messed it. Don't do that. What you need to do with emergency fund is that it needs to be invested in a low-risk investment. So you can't save for emergency, then you go take risk with it. See hiyo kazi. You must know that. That's why we said goals. This is a goal. So examples of good emergency fund investments is either money market fund, and we'll talk more about it. A bank deposit is also a good emergency savings product, or even buying a treasury bill. And I'll explain to you later what treasury bills, treasury bonds are. And here, I decided to be selfish, and I gave you a money market fund product that ICA Lion has. Invest.icalion.com, and you can save anytime. You can start with 500, you can save every day, whatever amount you have. And you can call that money anytime, and what happens is that every day it is earning you an interest. So there are no penalties when you're calling that money back. They maintain the principal amount, or the amount you brought, and they pay you on top, and some interest whenever you want. You can top up, you can remove whenever you want, but of course, you want the discipline of consistently saving and investing that money. Don't put it under the mattress. If it is not working, I'll show you what you'll be eating it, because it will also be eaten. If you just save it and not invest, zero-sum game. You may have paper money. Yeah. Then, we're at 1:30. Go for credit counseling. So maybe you have accumulated a lot of debt. What can you do? I know counseling sounds like umechizi, lakini tujachizi. You can go for credit counseling. Means you go for counseling to try and come up with a process of how you will manage this debt, especially when they are bank loans. You know, banks can finish you hata ukisikia hiyo 13.5. But the sizes are usually also very big. That is why you need to go and see a counselor and see how the financial planner can help you to consolidate and reduce the cost of debt, your cost of debt. So debt counseling or credit counseling is a good thing. You shouldn't be ashamed, because sometimes we find ourselves, we've already accumulated so much. How do you deal with it? So you can be able to go for credit counseling and come up with a good strategy that will help you to eliminate debt and you become debt-free. That is where freedom comes. You know how you finish that mortgage and you feel, wah! It's very refreshing. Ama hiyo sako loans. Did you see how Peterson was happy? Your plot, ata nilimaliza. It's a very nice feeling. It's very, very, very good. So if you have overburdened yourself with debt, consider debt counseling, and there's something called debt consolidation, so that you deal with only one debt. You pay off all the others, and you deal with one debt. You stop being followed. You know how it is annoying, like hearing KCB is calling, Barclays is calling, Liz is calling, Fuliza is calling, and you're like, oh, madness. You can't handle it. So you consolidate. When you consolidate, now you can manage that one debt in one space, and you live towards that goal of eliminating it, other than having spread yourself, Sacco, bank, people, Fuliza. You will die of stress because of the many. You don't even have track of what debt you have not paid. So you can avoid that spiraling of having too many debts across. All right. Consult a financial planner when it comes to investing. In the afternoon, at 2:30, we are going to deal with this financial planning, some of the things you need to learn. But just to mention, you need to, when you consult a financial planner, some of the things they will help you to deal with is money management tips, investment opportunities. And the reason we talk about these at an individual level is because we are all unique. We can't say it's one size fits all. When you come and we talk, I will analyze your situation and I'll say, for you, I think your challenge is debt. For you, I think your challenge is expenses. Cut this one. For another person, the problem is income. How do we increase your income? So money management tips, investment opportunities, it's not one size fits all, and therefore we will deal with you at an individual level. Retirement planning is also at an individual level because, like you said, we said, it is true that all of us will somewhat retire. It doesn't have to be retiring from a formal job. You will retire because you will grow old and you'll not be able to work. That is retirement. Retirement is that stage where you are not going to be generating income. You should be consuming what you made in your younger years. And so all of us must plan for it. So as an individual, you must plan for your retirement. It will come. It sure will come. Then risk management, we talked about invest, but consider the risks that come with every investment, and we'll cover that again, and I'll show you what investments and what risks each of those investments have. Life stage investing. Because of the way we are different, at each and every life stage we can take different risks. I'll tell you, like a young person can take the risk of buying shares. And they'll be able to stay put, even if there's a crisis and the shares go down, they'll be able to rise again. They will wait. Now, buy shares for a 80-year-old, mudiawori, tumnunulie Safaricom, ianze kushuka. Sio mtu utampeleka kwa grave. Hivyo tu, na ni shares ulimnunulia investment. Because at their age, that is not an investment that is suitable for them. So different investments are suitable for different age groups. So you need to be aware, even when you're in groups, those chamas. There are some investments which are not good for you. Like, I won't give old mamas investments that are going to add to their blood pressure and hypertension and all that. No. We'll give them something which is very soft to them and they can relax. The time for taking high risk with investments is when you're a little younger. You can be able to recover. But when you're a bit older, you got into family and things like that, you really need to consider risk-taking. Then you choose the right investment and diversify. We talked about diversification. Diversification is having investments in different assets. Imagine even in property, there's diversification. Because we say, for example, you have invested everything you have on Thika Road, around Waraka. Then something happens in this particular geography. You're done, isn't it? So you really need to consider diversifying even your property. It can't be one location. Malili, hapo ndio ulienda. Uko Malili, every title you remove, Malili, stroke 202, 207, all that. You really need to consider. So there's a lot of science when you're investing. Diversification is on asset classes and also within the asset class. So asset classes, we are saying you have land, you have real estate, which is properties, you have shares, you have money market, you have offshore. Here now we are thinking very big. You have all those, an array of things. You have a business that is also running. That's a diversification. Now, then you go to the asset class property. You ask yourself, is it all plot? Now that, again, you diversify within that asset class. You're getting the point? Even bonds, even shares. Don't just buy Safaricom. You need to have a bit of Safaricom, a bit of KCB, a bit of Equity Bank, a bit of this and that. That way, if, for example, the telco was to go through a major